My daughter Victoria's words sliced through me like a blade, delivered with a venom I'd never heard from her before. I stood in the doorway of what had been my home for 43 years, clutching 2 suitcases and a small box of photos, the remnants of a life I thought I'd built. Obedient as ever, I packed up as she commanded, but 3 days later I sat in a lawyer's office, uncovering a betrayal so intricate it rivaled a grandmaster's chess game. My late husband, Robert, had played a long con I never saw coming, and Victoria was about to learn that this pawn had just become the queen. If you're reading this, drop a comment with where you're from and hit subscribe. Let me tell you how I went from a discarded widow to the woman holding all the cards. This story's got more twists than a pretzel factory, and honey, it's just getting started. 2 months ago, I was Margaret Sullivan, 67, devoted wife of 43 years to Robert and mother to Victoria, our spectacularly ungrateful daughter. When Robert died suddenly of a heart attack at 71, my world shattered. I was still reeling, drowning in grief, when Victoria swooped in like a vulture in designer heels, cooing about how difficult this must be for me. "Mom, you can't manage this big house alone," she'd say, her voice syrupy with feigned concern. "The stairs, the upkeep, all those memories, it's not healthy." I should have seen the calculation in her eyes, the way she eyed the house like it was already hers. Victoria had always been Robert's princess, the apple of his eye who could do no wrong. When she married Kevin, a slick investment banker, and started popping out grandchildren, Robert's adoration only grew. I was just the backdrop, the wife who cooked, cleaned, and kept the family machine running smoothly. After the funeral, Victoria's concern turned aggressive. She and Kevin would show up with real estate pamphlets and brochures for retirement communities. "Mom, these places are wonderful. Friends your age, activities, no responsibilities," they'd say, meaning no inheritance to split, no inconvenient mother to burden them. The final blow came last Tuesday. I'd been living in the guest room of our sprawling home at 847 Oakwood Drive, unable to face packing up the bedroom I'd shared with Robert. Victoria arrived unannounced, Kevin trailing with 2 large suitcases. "Mom, we've made a decision," she declared, her tone clipped. "Kevin got a promotion, and we need to move into town immediately. This house is perfect for us." I blinked, stunned. "Move in? But this is my home." Her mask slipped, revealing a cold glint. "Actually, Mom, per Dad's will, I inherited everything. The house, the investments, all of it. I've let you stay out of kindness, but it's time you find your own place." The words landed like a punch. "Victoria, there's been a mistake." "No mistake. Dad knew I'd manage his legacy better than you. You never understood money or investments. You were just the wife. Just the wife. 4 decades of devotion reduced to a dismissal. Then came the killing blow. Find somewhere else to die. You're useless now." I packed in a daze, 43 years distilled into 2 suitcases and a box of photos. Victoria watched, checking her watch like I was delaying her spa appointment. "There's a nice senior complex on Maple Street," she offered breezily. "Very affordable. I'm sure they have openings." Affordable. My daughter was inheriting $33 million, and she was pointing me to a welfare facility for seniors. Kevin loaded my bags into their BMW with the efficiency of someone tossing out trash. "Margaret, you'll love your independence," he said, avoiding my eyes. Independence. He meant homelessness. As we drove away, I watched my home, Robert's home, now Victoria's, fade in the rearview mirror. I'd hosted her birthday parties, nursed Robert through illness, polished every inch of that house. Now I was being dumped at the Sunset Inn, a $49 a night motel with threadbare towels and a carpet that reeked of despair. Victoria handed me $200 in cash, like a tip for a maid. "This should cover a few days while you get settled," she said. "Kevin will transfer some money once we sort Dad's paperwork." Some money from my own inheritance. Alone on the sagging motel bed, I tried to process my fall from grieving widow to discarded senior citizen. The daughter I'd raised, loved, and sacrificed for had cast me aside like an outdated appliance. But something nagged at me. Robert was meticulous, obsessive about documents. Years ago, he'd shown me his will, explaining his wishes clearly. I was certain it didn't say what Victoria claimed. He was traditional, sometimes patronizing about money, but never cruel. The man who held my hand through my mother's death, who surprised me with anniversary flowers, wouldn't leave me penniless. The next morning, I used the motel's spotty Wi-Fi to locate Robert's attorney, Harrison Fitzgerald, who'd handled our house purchase and business matters for decades. His downtown office was a 20-minute bus ride, eating into my dwindling cash, but I had to know. Harrison, a distinguished man in his 70s with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, looked surprised when his secretary announced me. "Margaret, I was wondering when you'd come in. I called your house, but Victoria said you were traveling." "Traveling?" I echoed, my stomach twisting. "Mr. Fitzgerald, I need to see Robert's will." He frowned. "Didn't Victoria give you your copy?" I provided her the original and several copies after the reading. My heart sank. "There was a reading? You were supposed to be there." "Victoria said you were too distraught, that she'd handle everything and ensure you got your inheritance." The betrayal crystallized. I was never told about a reading. Victoria said she inherited everything. Harrison's face darkened. He grabbed a thick file, urgency in his movements. "That's impossible, Margaret. Robert's will is specific about your inheritance." He opened the document, Robert's neat signature glaring at me, witnessed and notarized. "I, Robert James Sullivan, bequeath to my beloved wife, Margaret Ann Sullivan, our primary residence at 847 Oakwood Drive, including all furnishings and 70% of all financial assets, totaling approximately $23 million. My head spun. The house. $23 million. Harrison continued, his voice grave. "To my daughter, Victoria Sullivan Hayes, I leave $10 million in trust, distributions beginning on her 45th birthday, contingent upon her treatment of her mother following my death. Contingent upon her treatment of me." Robert had known. Somehow, he'd anticipated Victoria's greed. "Mr. Fitzgerald," I whispered, "Victoria told me I got nothing. She moved into my house, gave me $200, and suggested a senior facility." His face flushed with anger. "Margaret, that's elder abuse and fraud, felonies. She likely forged documents or used an outdated draft." Robert updated his will 6 months before his death, concerned about Victoria's entitlement. He paused, then added, "There's more. If Victoria fails to treat you with respect and dignity, her $10 million reverts to you." I stared, dumbfounded. "You're saying?" "You're not inheriting $23 million, Margaret. You're inheriting $33 million, the house, and all personal property." The irony was exquisite. Victoria's greed had triggered the clause meant to protect me. "What do I do now?" Harrison's eyes gleamed. "We call the police about the fraud. Then we inform Victoria she's in for the shock of her life. Can she fight this?" "With what?" "Every account she thought she controlled is yours. They're frozen pending investigation." I pictured Victoria in my house, planning renovations with money she didn't own. Kevin, calculating portfolio gains. They were clueless their world was about to implode. Harrison's office became a war room for what he dubbed Operation Justice. He contacted the police, banks, and a private investigator while I sat, still processing Victoria's deception. Detective Rodriguez reviewed the forged will Victoria showed me. "Sophisticated," she said. "This wasn't impulsive. Someone planned this carefully." "You think Victoria had help?" I asked. "Almost certainly. Forging legal documents requires expertise. We'll investigate Kevin's financial network. Within hours, Victoria's accounts were frozen. Her credit cards, linked to her inheritance, were declined. Utilities in her name, suspended. At 3:47 p.m., my phone rang. Victoria. Mom, where are you? There's a mix-up with the accounts. They're saying Dad's assets are frozen. Hello, Victoria. I'm with Harrison Fitzgerald, your father's attorney, who read the real will while you claimed I was traveling. Silence. Mom, I don't know what you think. I think you're a liar and a thief. Your father was smarter than us both. You didn't inherit a dime. Her voice sharpened. You're confused. Grief's overwhelming you. Someone's taking advantage. The audacity. Victoria, you forged documents, committed fraud, and threw your 67-year-old mother out because you thought I was too stupid to notice. Mom, please. Not only did you inherit nothing, but your $10 million is mine now, thanks to a clause about treating me with dignity. That's impossible. Detective Rodriguez is here if you'd like to discuss fraud charges. Silence. Can we meet and talk reasonably? We'll meet in court at your arraignment. You wouldn't press charges against your daughter. Watch me. I hung up, Harrison beaming. She'll be arrested tonight. Kevin's records are subpoenaed. If he's involved, he's done. Victoria texted, Mom, please don't. Think of the grandchildren. I showed Detective Rodriguez, who smirked. Classic manipulation. I replied, I'm thinking of them. They deserve to know why you stole from family. Police arrested Victoria at 8:30 p.m. during dinner at Le Bernardin, celebrating her inheritance. She screamed about false arrest, demanding a lawyer. Kevin's golf buddy, clueless about criminal law. Kevin was arrested at his office the next morning. A forensic accountant traced the forged documents to a printing company Kevin's firm used for fraudulent prospectuses. My son-in-law had a hidden criminal resume. I slept in my master bedroom that night, Victoria's designer clutter already invading. I packed her things into garbage bags for the porch. The house felt different, mine, not Robert's shrine. I'd maintained it for him, erasing my own tastes. That was changing. Harrison updated me. Victoria's bail was $50,000, Kevin's $200,000, reflecting his securities fraud history. Who knew your son-in-law was under investigation? Harrison mused. I hadn't. Victoria and Kevin always spoke to me like a child about money, assuming I couldn't grasp it. Harrison, I want to renovate the house. Victoria planned changes, but I want my vision. It's your home, Margaret. Do what makes you happy. I canceled her kitchen gutting and wine cellar, planning an art studio and library instead. My phone rang. Channel 7 News. Mrs. Sullivan, your elder fraud case is significant. Will you share your story? Miss Cooper, I'm not ready yet. Your story could help seniors spot family financial abuse. She had a point. How many others were manipulated by greedy children? If I speak, can I control the narrative? Absolutely. You'd approve the final edit. I imagined Victoria in her cell, believing she could charm her way out. I'll get back to you. Sipping Kevin's gifted wine in my house, I marveled at my transformation. The doorbell rang at 7 a.m. Victoria stood on my porch, disheveled, bailed out somehow. Mom, we need to talk. We talked. You told me to die elsewhere. I found somewhere to live. Her composure cracked. I made mistakes, but I'm your daughter. Daughters don't forge documents to steal inheritances. I was protecting you from managing that money. You've never. Victoria, your father worried about your entitlement. He changed the will because he feared you'd hurt me. That's a lie. I played Robert's video message, his voice calm but devastating. If you're hearing this, Victoria, my fears about your character were justified. Your mother sacrificed everything for our family. Victoria sank onto the steps, sobbing. He hated me. No, he hoped you'd prove him wrong. You didn't. What now? You face fraud charges, public humiliation. Channel 7 wants my story. Her face crumpled. Think of the grandchildren, Kevin's career. I'm thinking of how you didn't when you committed felonies. 3 days later, Kevin's mother, Eleanor Hayes, arrived, dripping entitlement. Margaret, prosecuting Kevin, is vindictive. He followed Victoria's lead. He forged documents. That's conspiracy. We'll compensate you, $2 million to drop charges. $2 million for stealing $33 million? $5 million. Kevin has a career, children. It serves justice. Eleanor's facade cracked. We've found dirt on Robert's business. It'd be unfortunate if it went public. I called Harrison. I want Robert's business records, every deal, every irregularity. In Robert's study, I found payments to shell companies, excessive fees, phantom partnerships. Private investigator Carol Chen confirmed Robert ran a money laundering operation for organized crime, millions over a decade. I reeled. Impossible. He was honest. The evidence is overwhelming. The $10 million for Victoria? Laundered funds. If the FBI knew, I'd lose everything. Worse, Victoria and Kevin likely knew, planning to use it as leverage. Victoria called, "Mom, meet tonight. You need to know about Dad." I know about the laundering. Kevin's lawyers contacted the FBI. They'll give us immunity for Dad's info. You keep $5 million and the house. Brilliant. Sociopathic. I looked at Robert's study, blood money. I need time. The FBI meeting's tomorrow. I called Carol. Get me to the FBI. I have a story. Agent Sarah Martinez recorded my confession. Robert's crimes, Victoria's fraud, Kevin's forgeries, their blackmail. You're admitting to benefiting from criminal proceeds? She asked. I'd rather tell the truth than let them win. Are you afraid? 2 weeks ago, I was homeless. Now I'm angry. Martinez smiled. Will you wear a wire? At 8 p.m., Victoria and Kevin arrived, thinking I'd surrender. Kevin offered $5 million and immunity. The $33 million is tainted, Victoria said. When did you know about Robert's crimes? I asked. Irrelevant, Kevin snapped. It's relevant if you were an accessory. Martinez and agents stormed in, arresting them for fraud, elder abuse, and extortion. Kevin's threat, "Dangerous people won't like this," added witness intimidation. Martinez dropped a bombshell. Robert was an FBI informant for 12 years, building cases against crime families. The $33 million is yours, earned legally through his cooperation. Victoria and Kevin didn't know. Their blackmail was based on half-truths. The Torino family's too busy with raids to bother you, Martinez assured. 6 months later, I stood in my renovated kitchen, sun streaming through new windows. My financial advisor, Sarah Chen, reviewed my portfolio. The Margaret Sullivan Foundation for Elder Protection, funded with $15 million, aided seniors against family abuse. Netflix greenlit a documentary, The Mother's Revenge. Victoria's prison letters piled up, unread. I'd meet her lawyer, not to reconcile, but to make clear her actions severed our bond. Her children would know why. In my art studio, I painted a self-portrait, a woman in sunlight, powerful, unafraid. The widow in a motel was gone. I'd become everything my enemies never imagined.